So, of course, FC Nantes on your left-hand side of your screen in the canary yellow, could you say?
I'll call it, yeah. They're actually known as the Canaries, I do believe, over in Ligue 1.
And what sort of red would you class that as for Arsenal?
Not sure. Rose? Rose red?
That's a bit lighter, isn't it, I think?
That's a good point.
Anyway,
I haven't got my colour chart with me, unfortunately.
The important thing, of course, is the result from today. Of course, Kepa had a great performance in Matchday 3. Wonderful team goal. He was at the end of it. We touched on how important this is for Arsenal. We seem to be saying this a lot about Arsenal every week, that they just don't quite have the mustard right at the crux of the game. We need to see something today, don't we? We need 4 points, rooted bottom of the table. We need a big performance from them, don't we?
Yeah, I think if we were, you know, we just had that comment there about Barcelona, about the fact that they're, you know, they haven't found their feet, but they're still getting points. Arsenal haven't found their feet, but also aren't picking up points at the same time. I think if they had picked up points, I don't think there'd be half as much focus on it as it is. I think that makeup of the team, it can work. It's just they need to figure out how it works.
And Harry, in terms of FC Nantes, not quite the same potential issues that Arsenal have had so far this season, but they've been a bit Jekyll and Hyde, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. I mean, when you think back to all the way back to match day 1, I believe, when they played against Boa Vista, they had opportunities there to take all 6 points, and they weren't able to snatch the win there. So, yeah, they certainly have been. I mean, chalk and cheese between match days. We've seen the great Nantes and we've seen the lackluster Nantes, and which one are we going to see here today? That's the real question. So,
Wes has gone with Arsenal, Harry.
I think it's tricky for me to really comment until we see how they're
Classic
playing on the day. Yeah, right on the fence. If I was going to say anything, I would probably lead towards FC Nantes based on what I've seen in the team lineups. I mean, I believe Arsenal playing with a 5-man midfield that can really compact FC Nantes back, but when Nantes have those 3 strikers, essentially, they could really catch Arsenal on the counter. And if the communication isn't quite on for Arsenal FC today, obviously we have, I believe, 3 different nationalities for Arsenal. If the communication isn't there, or there's a bit of a breakdown, that defence could be very, very leaky here today against FC Nantes, who have proven they can score goals.
Yeah, in terms of Arsenal, I hope I'm wrong in this, because I think that this could be quite damaging for them. But I have a feeling, due to that Jekyll and Hyde nature of FC Nantes, I've got a feeling we may see a strong performance from them. Obviously, Kepa fresh from his best goal last week, and I just feel this today they may just get it right, and it could be, like I said, damaging for Arsenal. I think we could see a 6-pointer for FC Nantes, but like I said, I hope for Arsenal's sake in this competition that would root them, and that would be unfortunate for them.
I mean, let's look at the goal-scoring form between these two clubs coming into today. Arsenal only scoring 5 across 6 games of PES. That's not a very good record to have. On the other side of things, FC Nantes 12 goals, so they're averaging about 2 goals a game, if my maths are correct, which I do believe they are. So I'd be
really
worried.
Happy about that.
I really am. Yeah, it's simple mathematics, but
2 times 6.
I've nailed it. I think it was. Yeah. But
really
either way,
the
proof in the pudding is the fact that Nantes at the moment way above the table than Arsenal. But as you said, 6 points up for grabs here. All 6 points go to Arsenal. They're above Nantes in the table. So that's why every game in the eFootball.Pro is so important, and this is one of them.
Yeah, when FC Nantes get it right, they are electric, and Arsenal are the team that are going to have to contain them today. And or, you know, we've talked a lot about the strengths of FC Nantes, but have we just not seen enough from Arsenal so far to really have an idea of that? Because again, like with a lot of these teams, they are a newly formed team, and they may just be yet to hit their stride.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about, you know, we talk about the individual brilliance that Arsenal have almost every match day. We talk about how good these players are individually. It's just a case of finding their flow and finding their rhythm with, you know, being as a trio as opposed to playing on your own.
So match 2 of match day 4 is underway, and it's Arsenal on the front foot. And what a start this might be for Lacazette. Smothered by the goalkeeper, but that was a really bright start from Arsenal, and something we sort of tend to see from FC Nantes.
Yeah, vintage Christopher tactic that is. I remember back in PES 2019, he would always go for that straight from the kickoff.
But the man of all tactics.
Looks like they are compounding pressure early on FC Nantes. This is definitely a design play, but they've weathered the storm for now. We'll see if it keeps coming.
Yeah, it's one of those tactics that if you get it right and you get the early goal, it can work wonders. But if you don't, you can fatigue late in the day, in the game, and succumb to a goal down the other end. Lacazette Aubameyang on the turn, gets away from the defender. Good strength though shown, and Magu clears his lines up towards the halfway line. Koulibaly, who's been an absolute man-mountain for FC Nantes so far this season, and then Johan in towards Eamon, chance for 1-0 to FC Nantes, and that is a gilt-edge opportunity that at this level you have to be burying.
I mean, through one-on-one, it was Roxer, I believe, who was fed through, and my, that's a bad miss.
Bad miss indeed, and that was a huge moment in this match. Just 9 minutes on the clock. Arsenal with all of the early play, but it just goes to show in an instant the game can change, and they really should be behind. Aubameyang in towards Pepe. Good strength shown by him, and he's forced a corner here for Arsenal. Again, someone of Christopher's age in the game, you would expect they've got something up their sleeves here. It's going to be Pepe to take the corner on the far touchline. 12 minutes gone, still 0-0 in towards the near post. Oh, it's a swing and a miss there from the head, and Johan tries to flick it around the corner towards Eamon, who missed that huge opportunity just minutes earlier. Lacazette finds Maitland-Niles, back towards Lacazette. The chested control runs through to the goalkeeper and hacked away.
So early signs, and something that I noted before this game started, FC not playing with that three-man attack. For me, they're not spreading wide enough, and so far it's been too much down the middle.
Maitland-Niles in towards Lacazette, fired off the post and turned home by Pepe at the back post. And it's just the start that Arsenal wanted.
Absolutely. And it comes back to what I was saying from FC Nantes. The players just too compacted in the middle of the pitch, allowed Arsenal to grab the ball back. We'll see it again here in just a moment, but let's take it straight down the line. Bit fortunate in the end with the amount of FC Nantes players that were back to have this ball find all the way into the back of the net, but straight to the byline, off the post I think it was, and then finds another Arsenal man.
He just showed more determination at the back post, didn't he, Pepe, there, because it was a 50-50 ball, and he just said, I'm having this is 1-0 Arsenal, and he fired at home. And outside of the FC Nantes chance, which was a huge one, don't get me wrong, Arsenal have started this game in a completely different vein, haven't they, Wes?
Yeah, they're very much on the front foot. They're very much putting this Nantes team under pressure, you know, as Harry alluded to, in terms of the way that teams are playing. If you can apply pressure early on, then, you know, it's great. If you've got teams that then escape that pressure, that's where the danger is. But at the moment, Arsenal are all over this Nantes team.
They are indeed, and they're in again here through Aubameyang. The goalkeeper thought about coming, he didn't, and it's Pepe! And it's 2-0 to Arsenal, and in the blink of an eye, this game could be going away from FC Nantes.
Yeah, we talked about the awareness, and we always talk about this, about how these players will look for the risk-free chance. You know, we all looked at it and going, well, that's Aubameyang that's going to shoot there, surely. Spots a man at the top, and it's an easy goal in the end.
It's that one extra pass that you'll see being played, as you said, Wes. Right here, you're thinking maybe take the shot, but no, man in support. I think it was Alex GRD. We will get confirmation of that in just a moment, but wow, tremendous supporting run, as well as the awareness to not take the shot and poke that one home. 2-0 to Arsenal.
I mean, and it wasn't just that cut across pass. It was that first pass as well.
Pass,
it was
like
superb, absolutely superb. And they seem to have found their feet, this Arsenal team. I hope I'm not speaking too quickly, but they seem to have found that city. You know,
well, it seems to me that they've noticed that after 3 match days that it just wasn't working, the tactics, because we've often seen from Christopher, for example, he's very pragmatic, he likes a lot of possession, he's not that aggressive in the final third, he likes the slow tempo, and it simply hasn't worked, because that tactic has been used by Arsenal across the 3 match days. They've started in a completely different vein, and it's really paying off. Now, from a Nantes point of view, they look completely shell-shocked. They obviously weren't expecting these tactics.
Yeah, you're maybe looking towards Roxer and Kepa here to really support Ayaz Babis, not only in the defensive capabilities and the defensive duties, but also for them to step up in an attacking sense. I mean, 5 goals, 5 assists for Roxer, and Kepa's up there with 3 apiece in each category as well. So now's the time for them to shine.
The old first cliche of the day, the next goal is all important, as Arsenal if they were to get a third, would be home and dry. Arsenal, on the other hand, no, that was Arsenal. FC Nantes, on the other hand, if they were to grab the goal, it would make it 2-1, of course, and very much game on.
Worth noting as well, that goal takes Alex GRD into the top 10 goal-scoring list, and when you think about Arsenal's goal-scoring form this season, it's not been the best, so that'll be a big plus for them. They'll be happy with that one.
They will indeed. Now, of course, in terms of goal difference, Arsenal would still be quite a long way behind FC Nantes, but they will be level on points. 32 minutes gone here. 2 goals to the good. Pepe finds Aubameyang. Back to Pepe. It's very quick. It's very fast, free-flowing football, this from Arsenal. And they're in again here through the Frenchman Lacazette. Good challenge, though, from Homewu. One back by Lacazette. And Pepe now on the right-hand side. He's popping up all over the place at the moment. Certainly player of the day so far for Arsenal as Loser finds Eamon, who they'll look back on that early chance, that gilt-edge opportunity, and it could have been oh so different, but Johan's in again here. And the referee's halted proceedings. Just waiting for clarification. Looks like an offside decision.
Looks like it. FC Nantes, good little bit of build-up there, really, and they seem very confident in their counter-attacking approach, willing to find the extra man and play that extra pass, and that might be a bit of a dangerous game here to play against Arsenal as they come forward once again.
Very, very impressive performance from Arsenal so far. And Wes, we talked about the high intensity and high pressing, for example. Have you seen anything else from Arsenal which has enabled them to get this 2-goal lead?
They just seem to be more confident. They seem to have just found that confidence of the way that they are playing with this team. They seem to just be at ease with having the ball at the feet. And
we might have to revisit that because they were anything but there defensively, but they've managed to survive.
But even there, they're playing it out from the back. Normally that's you're hitting clearance button and that's it. Whereas actually they're comfortable enough to actually play it out.
It's been a remarkable change in tactics for sure. Something that you'd have to say, based on the results up to now, was very much necessary as Kolasinac heads forward towards Lacazette. That front three of Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe has caused FC Nantes problems all afternoon as the first half comes to an end. The final attack of the first half. Of course, if you're an Arsenal fan, you don't want to be conceding here right at the death of the first half as the ball gets played in towards Koulibaly, but pretty much sums up FC Nantes' first half. They've had next to nothing in that attacking third other than that huge missed opportunity on 7 minutes.
Yeah, and if they were able to get another goal very soon, they might look back on that as a chance that could be a difference maker between points in this game. But Arsenal, with that mini period of counter-attacking play, scoring 2 within around 3 in-game minutes was, well, I mean, it is the difference maker here at half-time.
Wes, what would you do now if you're FC Nantes? Because it looks like they're not changing a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, there's conversation there between Roxa and Kepa. And they aren't. I think they're still confident in the system they're working with.
I mean, we talked about how poor Arsenal have been this season so far, but individually, they've got 3 incredible players there. So it's no surprise that we're seeing this. It's just a surprise it's taken this long into the competition. But FC Nantes with the first chance of the second half, and that could have been really, really important. As it happens, it's gone over the top. Whether it took a deflection or not quite sure. I think he went for the chip. It's just nestled on the roof of the net. It will be a goal kick.
It's a good point you make about Arsenal, and when you look at the actual sum of the parts, you'd say they really should be further up the table than where they find themselves. And that question we will have to come back to about why it's taken so long. Maybe one for me to ask after the game in the mix zone.
Koulibaly in towards Eamon, and it's an instant response from FC Nantes. And we talked about how brilliant Arsenal were in that first half, but defensively, Wes, they were all over the place there.
Yeah, and it's what we said. Nantes have gone in at half-time, haven't changed anything, and instead have believed in the process. They know how they can play. They know how they can unlock teams. We know that Koulibaly is their point man, but it's a fantastic first-time finish there.
And Harry, this is so brilliant because we waxed lyrical about Arsenal in that first half. Yet one more goal for FC Nantes, and they could be 1 point or none if they could score 2, which they clearly can.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about another meltdown, really, for Arsenal.
Arsenal really need to keep their heads here, because if I remember back to, Matchday 2, I believe it was, they were in a similar position where they went 2 up. Confirmation on the goal scorer, captain Ayaz Babisk. Really need to keep their heads here, Arsenal. Again, you can't afford, like you said, another meltdown. When you are so far down the league, you need these points.
FC Nantes really on the front foot, pressing. This is the sort of FC Nantes that we were talking about prior to kick off, what they can do, and we didn't see in that first half. They've really starting to go up through the gears now. Yeah,
free-flowing, counter-attacking gameplay. This is what they were going for with that 3 attacking triplet up top, and it's taken a first half to really oil up those gears, but they are moving through them now.
All hands on deck for Arsenal defensively. They need to survive this early onslaught in the second half. They've got a fortunate offside decision there, which will alleviate some of the pressure. They probably need to get around that 60-65 minute mark, still at the same scoreline. If they were to concede again in the next 10 minutes, Harry, you'd feel pretty worried.
For them, it's not worth thinking about at this point. I think
they need to get back to doing what they were doing as well, don't they?
Knowing Christopher and knowing Alex GRD, they want attacking gameplay, and they will certainly want another goal before FC Nantes get theirs.
Again, it breaks down in the heart of the midfield. FC Nantes come down the left-hand side through Blas, and now Limbombe, chance for a cross in towards Koulibaly, but Holdings across to make the clearance. Just can't quite get out at the moment, Arsenal, and this is becoming increasing pressure here from FC Nantes, penned in, but again the offside flag relieves a bit of pressure.
Yeah, and this was a pause cued by Arsenal. We'll see what attacking changes they make, if any, or whether or not they'll just shut up shop and try and hold this goal advantage they currently possess. And
they're changing formations by the looks of things, possibly.
Yep.
To a
looks like they're changing to plan B.
Yep, there is, as you said, that plan B. Maybe bringing a man back and playing more deep in front of the back 4, hoping that these counter-attacks from FC Nantes can be repelled a little bit. It's an interesting tactic.
I was going to say the issue with that is, though, is that you're gambling that Nantes aren't going to be able to get a second goal, and the issue then becomes you've made your substitutions, you've changed your tactics to be more defensive. If you then find actually it turns to 2-2, you've then got to try and find a gear.
Then change it back.
Yeah. Once you've took substitutions are final. We don't have roll on, roll off.
In this position, would you try and go for a third and try and kill the game off then, as opposed to dropping deep and playing a more defensive system?
Yeah, me personally, I'm more of an aggressive player. I would want to rather try and push the issue, get a third, and close this out.
Pepe tries the back heel, doesn't come off. Simon makes the block, and now forward towards Eamon. Still, many Nantes fans will be looking at this game and just thinking back to that early chance he had when the score was at 0-0, but they're still well in this time. If they were to get 1 point at least from this first match, they would be more than happy after the start they had. But Arsenal will, of course, be a threat on the counter-attack, especially through that man Pepe, who's had a brilliant game, but second half he's been a bit stifled, Harry.
For me, that holding midfielder for Arsenal, I believe it's Guendouzi playing that position. For me, whoever's controlling him for Arsenal needs to not venture too far up the pitch, because, again, despite having that extra man sitting in front of the back 4 in that counter-attack from FC Nantes, they still looked a little susceptible, so here they come again.
Simon blocked, and Holding now finds that man Guendouzi. Now, Aubameyang tries to find Mesut Ozil, but it's been pickpocketed there from FC Nantes, and Simon finds Blas on the left-hand side. Again, they're ramping up through the gears down the left-hand side. Another chance here for the equalising goal, in towards Eamon at the near post, and somehow Socrates tried to clear his lines, and it's ricocheted off his own player. As my voice jumped through the octaves as well, and now it's in towards Limbombe again, and somehow it's gone the wrong side of the post.
Oh, I think there was a man on there at the near post, Wes.
Yeah, well, there was a man on there, and I think even Arsenal might have accidentally given away a corner here. You see there, Medley gets a final touch. Is that going to be a corner?
Real heart in your mouth moments here if you are an Arsenal fan, because you had a tremendous first half. A first 45 where you were 2-0 to the good, dominated probably 40 minutes of that first half and looked every bit as much as what we expected this season. But second half, they succumbed slightly more to the cagey, nervous affair which we've seen from them in the opening 3 match days. They need to hold out here and get an invaluable 3 points, because if they don't, it'll hand all of the momentum to FC Nantes for that second game as well, Harry.
Absolutely. Do want to hear what Arsenal are saying. Seems very quiet at the moment, as Captain Christopher will be making the changes and, you know, tweaking to try and keep this 2-1 lead. It's difficult really to say at this point who would get the next goal. Yes, Nantes have been hounding them with pressure, but that counter-attack from Arsenal, as we saw in the first half of this game, is always going to be on. I'm not sure whether it still will be on after the changes.
Torreira coming on for Aubameyang. It's another defensive change here for Arsenal, as the header is plucked out of the sky. Of course, we talked about what a damaging result it might be if Arsenal were to allow this lead to slip, but equally if they were to hold on, you'd have to say they've shown great mettle as oh, it's another chance here though for FC Nantes, and Ayman makes it 2-2, and the man who missed a gilt-edge opportunity in the first half after just 7 minutes has grabbed an unlikely equaliser. And now, Harry, you'd have to say if you're a Nantes fan, you'd want to go and get the winner.
Now it's game on for FC Nantes. They have, as I said, been hounding Arsenal with pressure, Wes.
Yeah, you can see there, I don't know who it is, but you can see the red. I'm sure I think
it's Alex GRD.
It's Alex GRD. You can see there's a little bit of panic in between his players, so like he couldn't quite get the right defender that he wanted.
3 Arsenal players going across to that first player, and it left 2 open in the middle.
Yeah, it's that human error. It's that human error where you couldn't quite get the player you want, and by the time you have got the player you want, it's too late.
I mean, amazingly, from FC Nantes, we've seen in this match exactly what we were talking about. We've seen Jekyll and Hyde. They were pretty woeful in that first 45 minutes, and if they played like this second 45 minutes across the board in every single match day, or the majority of match days, they'd be well up the top of this table, wouldn't they?
I think Christopher here has actually completely reverted the changes that he made just moments before to try and maintain the lead. There is Kepa, confirmation of the goal scorer for FC Nantes. 4 goals so far. Decent return from the man who was not even present at match day 1, so he's really been filling in the blanks here and there for FC Nantes.
So 79 minutes gone. Arsenal were 2-0 to the good at half-time and looked to be plain sailing towards the first 3 points of the day, but 2 second-half goals for FC Nantes have allowed the score to be deadlocked again at 2-2, and now a goal you feel from either side would be the winner. If Arsenal were to get it, that would show tremendous mental ability, but you'd have to say on the balance of play, if we were going to get another goal, you'd have to say momentum is in the favour of FC Nantes, but we've seen so many changes in momentum across the match days as Pepe goes in. Oh, he's put it wide of the target. A huge chance for the man who's already got 2 goals. He was on for a hat-trick. It looked like it was just going to open up and nestle into the top left-hand corner, but he's put it wide of the target.
Nayaz Babisk has been a stellar defender, a real star in defence for FC Nantes in this game against Arsenal. He's looked particularly shaky. A bit unfortunate to just almost lay off that ball to an oncoming Arsenal player, but they're in here maybe.
Fired away by the goalkeeper. 4 minutes is all that stands between this game ending in stalemate, or can potentially one of these 2 sides grab an unlikely winner now. Kolasinac out towards Guendouzi. The Arsenal players have reverted, as you said, back to that more attacking high press as Torreira and Pepe on the left-hand side look to really cause problems. Hacked away by FC Nantes, and now it's the French side who are looking like they might go and get a late winner. 3 minutes of added on time. Probably just time for one last foray forwards for FC Nantes. It's fired up towards Ndulu, headed away by Holding, and now Mesut Ozil.
There's a chance. One last chance maybe here for Arsenal.
finds Nketiah now. Simon back towards the centre-back, fired away, and surely this game is going to end in stalemate, but that's a poor touch there and hacked down because he knew if he allowed him to get away, it was potentially a huge opportunity for FC Nantes. Can they take advantage? Socrates booked for the foul, of course.
Surprisingly, only a booking.
In towards Holding. Could this be the moment that the season could change? And the referee... He's not given a penalty, has he? Oh, it's right on the edge of the area. A metre outside. There were heart-in-the-mouth moment there for many of the Arsenal fans. They thought he was going to point to the spot, but this is still a huge opportunity.
You have to shoot here, surely. Roxa.
Limbombe up over the wall, deflected wide of the target.
Into the 5th minute of 3 added on.
Hoops and hollers all round the studio, up in the training room, because all of the players for the other clubs are watching with bated breath, because they know that another goal here could be crucial in their own season.
Well, surely this is the last kick, and you can see there that exactly what Nantes are doing. They're selecting players to join the attack. What that does is that gives you more people in the box at set pieces. So, for example, with the likes of a last-ditch corner, they have now selected all of their defenders up there. So there's more players in the box, there's more problems, and I don't think there'll be enough time in the game for Arsenal to break.
3 minutes of added on time it was. We're deep into the 5th minute of added on time, so as for sure this will be the last kick or last attack of this match. Whether we see the attack in its entirety, we'll have to wait and see, as again the studio holds its breath. Blaze in towards a danger area, headed away, only as far as Simon. Chance to win it for FC Nantes. It's a penalty!
Oh, wow.
The referee has pointed to the spot, and the drama is excruciating here. And it's a penalty,
and it's the
to
captain,
win it.
Captain Ayaz Babisk.
Captain fantastic.
Versus captain.
Bombay, a chance to win it for FC Nantes from 2-0 down to 3-2. They've snatched 3 points, and this could be massive for the French side this season.
That is huge.
Unbelievable. How did they do that? From 2-0 down, we were writing them off. And I think it was the 96th minute in the end, they get that penalty. And as you were talking about, Wes, throwing that amount of bodies in the box for FC Nantes is always going to lead to a potential for a silly challenge.
It caused so much confusion.
It's chaos.
Here it is again.
Absolute chaos. And to be honest, I didn't even. I was looking at the play on the left-hand side because the cross was coming in. The players were over in the middle for the tap-in. It was only you waving your hands, Wes, that noticed that he'd actually brought him down.
Well, that comes with the nature of when you're looking. Like we have a view here where we can see everything. You can't throw challenges in like that, especially when the ball's getting played off. You can't do that, even if you're even trying to block shots. At that point, you just need to stand on your feet.
And it's all over here, and in the most dramatic of circumstances, Arsenal were 2-0 up and they've thrown it away, and FC Nantes with quite possibly the greatest comeback of the eFootball.Pro season so far. They snatch it 3-2 with a 95th minute penalty winner, and nerves of steel, I have to say, from Limbombe there.
Absolutely. It was captain versus captain in the penalty situation. We had Christopher controlling the goalkeeper for Arsenal, captain for Arsenal, of course, and captain Ayaz Babisk on the end there for FC Nantes, who drilled it home. Unbelievable.
I am shell-shocked by that, and to be honest, I'm shell-shocked as well, not from the viewing side of it, but also thinking from the mentality point of view for these two squads now, because if you're Arsenal now, that could be so damaging.
I mean, look at
but
Christopher.
Equally, if you're FC Nantes, it can make you feel a bit invincible right now.
Oh yeah, no, without a doubt. If you've gone and won a game in that fashion, bearing in mind injury time had been exhausted, it was only because the ball was still in an attacking phase was that time still ticking. You know, if you're Arsenal, you're going to feel aggrieved because it's happened deeper into injury time than what was allotted. But it's like you mentioned, it's the metal and it's the nerve, and it was the awareness to keep the ball alive.
I mean, it ticked into 96 minutes
Yeah.
of added on time. I mean, but that was the pressure that they were putting them under, because it was 3 minutes of allotted time, but the ball, the danger never dissipated. So surely the referee had to play all the while the danger was in. He had to play it on.
Yeah, well, this is it. As long as the ball is in an attacking phase of play, the referee cannot blow the whistle. And
I mean, many people up there thought it was a penalty moments earlier, didn't they? And it was a free kick on the edge of the area.
That's right, yeah. And you think back as well to the tactical foul that Venom came in with Socrates, where he was only booked. I mean, that could have been a red.
But we also thought that was the moment that they'd saved the game and come away with a point.
So Arsenal, they really did everything right apart from giving away that penalty, and in the end, it was their demise.
I mean, shell shock, like I said, we've now got to go on to the second game. Where do we start? Because we've touched on the mentality from both these squads now. They've got to try and start fresh, because Arsenal need to do what they did in that first half, but do it for longer, if it's possible. I mean, did they run out of legs? Did the fatigue set in?
The interesting bit about the Arsenal tactic was, and I only caught it as we were going in and out of the game, because I know that Christopher is lightning fast coming out of screens, so he doesn't want people to have a look at tactics, but their particular advanced instruction they had set was gegenpress. The gegenpress, it basically makes all of your players just turn into pressuring the ball at every turn, whether that played a part in tired legs, which then made bad decisions.
Well, we touched on that gegenpress right at the start of the game, didn't we? They were playing that for the opening 45 minutes, and when it works, it's great, and when it doesn't, you do get tired legs, but it kind of happened on both fronts. They got the 2 goals up, but they still suffered in that second half.
Well, that's what we talked about. You can escape that press. If you can escape that pressure, you're going to leave gaps. And I think as you wore on into the second half, Nantes decided to kind of turn up.
Well, Nantes have signed in on the front foot here, and it's headed goalwards, and somehow it's come back off the line. And FC Nantes have started the second game like they ended the first.
Yeah, Koulibaly, I think it was, but a chance now for Arsenal to counter with the captain Christopher on the ball.
In towards Maitland-Niles, lovely chance here, right foot shot straight down the throat of Oliero.
Maitland-Niles there, caught very late. Surprised the referee hasn't brought that one back. Very late challenge.
Maybe he saw a lot of eyes on him after the penalty decision in the 96th minute of the last game. You never know. Guendouzi finds Aubameyang now. Lacazette back towards Aubameyang again, and Arsenal again started this game pretty well, as they did in the first game. Now Lacazette joins the attack again. Still can't get out here, FC Nantes. Pepe, by far Arsenal's best player. He had a huge chance for the hat-trick in that first game, didn't he?
Absolutely he did, but I'm intrigued about this FC Nantes counter. They're playing the ball into space where necessary, which is exactly what you want to do.
Oh, it's a mistake there from Kolasinac. Manages to get it away, though.
I tell you what, these two teams' play styles are matched up absolutely perfectly for a tremendous affair. Neither one really willing to sit back and be comfortable in possession. They're always going for the jugular here, Wes.
Well, you think about it this way, is that Nantes know that now they have 3 points in the back pocket. They want to go and get 6 and get themselves back in the mix for those top 2 slots. And Arsenal are having to come out because they needed to get themselves off the foot of the table.
The worrying point of view for Arsenal is the fact that certainly they came out of the blocks so quickly in the first game, which caught FC Nantes by surprise, because they weren't expecting them to play like that, let's be honest.
Yep.
But now they know they probably are going to play like that. It's going to be interesting to see how they actually deal with that.
Yeah, it's the
added insight.
The element of surprise, it only works for so long, and maybe it was only a half of football that Nantes needed to really kind of realise what was going on with Arsenal.
Amen. In towards Johan. Chance to cross it across the face. Oh, somehow it's gone all the way along the goal line, and no one was there. Just the faintest of touches, and that would have been 1-0.
Yeah, I think that was a shot that just dragged across the face of goal. Unfortunately, from that angle, it is so tough to get an effort on target, let alone beat the keeper and score. So, promising signs for FC Nantes. Arsenal need to be wary.
Maitland-Niles. Of course, Eamon in that first game was exactly what we've been talking about from an FC Nantes point of view. In the Jekyll and Hyde, he missed that huge chance in the opening 5 minutes or so of that game, but then he went on to score one of the most important goals of their season so far. I believe it was AS Babisk as well.
Yeah, looking at the composition of FC Nantes as a team, if they come out of this with 6 points, I think they're the team really we should be talking about to rival AS Monaco. I mean, just looking at the last game, Roxa, the leading goal scorer for them with 5 goals, wasn't even needed, wasn't called into action. It was Ayaz Babisk, the captain, stepping up, who has been stellar previously in the season defensively, stepping up with 2 goals, and then Kepa coming in with 1.
Kepa with the long ball forwards.
I was just going to say, if you're talking about teams that are going to rival AS Monaco, I think Bayern Munich might have a word to say with you about that.
Absolutely. Who can forget that the German giants we'll be seeing later on today?
Pepe. 30 minutes gone here, still deadlocked. This hasn't been quite the same level. I think even the players are a bit fatigued mentally after that first game. Well, it's taken a lot out of them.
This is it. For Arsenal, it's important not to let that first game, yes, it's heartbreaking, but don't let that first game and the early phases of this one really let the air out of your balloon. You need to keep that thing inflated.
Because they had a lot to, you know, be excited about with that first performance.
Yeah, they really did, and they still have to maintain that belief that they can, you know,
that was a mistake.
Make that same thing happen here.
It's a free kick here. I think it was a foul on Aubameyang, or was it the other way? No, it was a foul on Aubameyang, and now Lacazette is going to line this up in a similar position to where the penalty was awarded in that first game. Fired towards goal, went for the risk option, didn't quite come off on this occasion.
Yeah, keeper needed that. That was heading for the top corner.
Kolasinac finds Maitland-Niles. Now Lacazette. It's a good period at this for Arsenal, and just as I say that, curse of the commentator, he fires a relatively easy pass straight out of play.
But it would be very, very simple for Arsenal at this stage to feel really hard done by and disappointed with themselves after letting that result slip. They need to maintain belief here that they can still get something out of this tie, despite FC not having, you know, the majority of the attacking gameplay here in this first half of the second game.
So FC Nantes, after today, if the score remains the same, will be sat in 4th spot. Of course, the likes of Juventus, Manchester United, Boavista, who are below them, can also leapfrog them with their games later on as the ball gets fired towards goal, just the wrong side of the post, but promising signs again there for the French team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's, for me, the team I'm worried about here is Arsenal. They need to string or show FC Nantes that they need to be respected, really, because so far FC Nantes have nothing to worry about. They're free to come forward knowing that Arsenal offering up nothing really in terms of an attacking sense.
It feels like Arsenal have reverted back to their previous 3 match days in this second game, Harry.
Absolutely, and again, FC Nantes allowed to bring the ball forward. Just a little bit out of sync at the moment.
Good challenge from Medley. Now can't quite get out there, and Eamon's in again here in towards Koulibaly, swinging a miss, and Rob Holding with the clearance, and that brings the first half to an end, and it was a forgettable half of eFootball.Pro, Rez.
But I think looking at it, given how the last game finished, of course, I think you were going to have a little bit of a kind of a let out of energy. There's a let out of emotion. I think at the moment, I think both teams are relatively flat because they can't really get themselves back up for it.
Just listen to some of the players there. Very vocal there, Arsenal.
Yeah, it sounded like there was it sounded like a little bit of disagreement, but I wouldn't like to sow seeds of discontent. But it looked as though it was a case of Venom trying to make his point and Chris trying to argue the point back. And you know,
that is one of the problems playing co-op. Of course, you will have even teams that have similar playing styles. The teammates they will still do certain things differently. It must be difficult sometimes when you are an elite player to perhaps choose an option that's not quite what you would do.
Well, this is a question that we asked of Juventus. You know, is everyone going to get a say, or is Eterito going to be the man?
Oh, lovely turn there from Nicolas Pepe. Sorry to cut you off, Harry, because he's in again here. Wonderful footwork. What a finish. And Arsenal have taken the lead in dramatic fashion. And that right there is a huge goal for Pepe.
Absolutely wonderful. Take a look at this bit of skill. And it was Alex Giardi stepping up once again for his team. He has, I mean, such a way with goals about him. We saw it in the previous eFootball.Pro season, playing for his adversaries here. Just take a look at this to beat his man. The first touch.
Lovely footwork there, and he just rifled it top bag, top right-hand corner.
Yeah, and that little step over here, you can execute that yourself. If the ball's coming into you, you hold I believe it's R2. You can let it run through your legs, and that's the type of thing it can do. It gives you that little bit of space, allows him to throw a trick. Yeah, he throws a trick, and boom.
Little drag over there, and discontent this time for FC Nantes. They've been here before. Celebrations all round. Perhaps the so-called disagreement that Wes talked about has actually enabled them to go on and do something slightly differently to grab that goal. Lacazette finds Maitland-Niles. Look, interestingly, they've been played two different playing styles and they've taken the lead twice.
Yeah, we do need to see, though, Arsenal hold this lead. I mean, if they want to have any chances in the table come the end of the season.
Pepe's in again here down the left-hand side. Great footwork again. Wonderful play across the face. And what a finish that is from Lacazette. And that man again, Nicolas Pepe, is causing problems all over the field today.
Well, I hope for Arsenal's point of view we're not seeing deja vu here. But either way, as you said, Pepe has been the difference maker. Take a look at this tremendous dribbling. It's Alex Giardi again, turned provider this time, Wes.
But it's that skill move you learnt last week, the double touch. And the double touch, if you execute it there, and especially if you pick the right moments, if these players have the right players in the right moments, in the right circumstances, in the right situations, that's the type of goal you can produce. And it was so easy for Chris to lay that into the back of the net. But it was superb again from Alex.
Wonderful, wonderful goal from an Arsenal point of view. Defensively, FC Nantes weren't the most solid there, but it's so difficult when you've got a player of Pepe's ability in terms of footwork and utilised to perfection there. The little drag over, step over, all the tricks of the trade there from the wide man, and he's been simply unplayable today, hasn't he?
He has, and Alex Giardi has as well. If Arsenal are able to take 3 points away from this, I mean, it would be down to that man in the middle of the Arsenal squad. I mean,
who of course played for FC Nantes last season.
Maybe on a bit of a revenge mission here. Either way, he has been absolutely on point. It's Christopher with the goal, but let's be honest, it's Alex Giardi who's made it 2-0 here for Arsenal.
Slowly becoming Arsenal's talisman. If players are expecting to create and do damage, it's certainly all the positive things are coming through Alex at this point.
But remember, we've been here before. It's a little bit later in the day, but I think it was around 53 minutes when we got the goal for FC Nantes in that first game. If you were to get a goal, though, from an FC Nantes point of view, the seeds of doubt might crop in again. So you certainly want to survive the next 10 minutes if you're an Arsenal team.
Free kick, though, in a bit of a dangerous spot. We saw the chaos that can ensue from set pieces. Are we going to see something else here today?
Mbombe, score of that late dramatic penalty in the first game. But this one was high, wide, and not so handsome.
Certainly not.
Not like Harry.
Thank you for that one. I mean, just looking at these goals, I mean, every single player chiming in for each squad. It's about who for FC Nantes is going to be that man to step up. Yes, they've been here before, and that's the good thing for them. If there is a good thing about them being 2-0 down, is that the game previous, they've proven to themselves they certainly can come back from a place of adversity. Can they do it here once again?
So far, so good for Arsenal. Pretty much identical possession for the two sides. And another performance in this second game from FC Nantes that leaves a little bit to be desired.
So far, we'll see what they can conjure up with after their changes. I'm done writing off FC Nantes after that miraculous comeback previous game.
One of the greatest comebacks of the season for sure. One of the greatest games we've seen. The drama left my heart palpitating as Maitland-Niles tries to twist and turn. And I mean, it looked like he got the ball to me there, but referee's always right, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we've been asking, you know, both of these teams and across the league as a whole for players to start taking risks. You know, both of those goals from or at least both of the, you know, the goal and the assist from Alex, both come from executing skill moves, you very rarely see skill moves in eFootball.Pro.
Taking the game by the scruff of the neck.
Taking it on his own back and going, look, this is mine, and we're going to sort this out. And to be fair, at the moment, it doesn't look like, I mean, there's some pretty harsh challenges flying in at this point, but I can't really see where Nantes are going to find their feet here.
Something that FC Nantes haven't been able to do. They haven't kind of gone out of that risk area. They've been very safe and very predictable almost. Maybe they need to try something a little bit different.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, for me, it's fun to see. Well, not fun, but it's interesting to see Arsenal employing the same tactic that got them in trouble in the previous game.
Going to that 4-4-2. And
I mean, not particularly custom tactics, but hacking them down and preventing Nantes from playing their own brand of football. Yes, we're a bit later on in the game than it was earlier on.
I mean, that's very Christopher, isn't it?
It is.
Sort of cynical.
We'll call it professional.
Professional. Well, yeah, you know, you get in front and then you try and stifle the game a little bit.
Anything in particular you're seeing here, Wes? I see you keeping a close eye on what Arsenal are doing.
They're still playing with gegenpress, which was kind of their downfall last game. If you have gegenpress on for 90 minutes, it can completely tire your team out, whereas if you sometimes need to let it go a little bit and potentially, you know, change it up. I mean, their subs are in the right place. They've took the right time in terms of, you know, that kind of magic window of 60 to 75 minutes. They've executed their subs the right way. It's now just a case of closing a game out, you know, and there's an art form even to that. We've seen it with Boa Vista, where they play in a professional manner. They close a game out, they keep the ball, they suffocate a team, and maybe that's the approach that these guys need to take here.
Well, certainly get a bit of gamesmanship here from Arsenal. They are trying to waste a little bit of time down on this near touchline with some much-needed possession, and then the throw comes in towards Kolasinac, fired in towards Nketiah. Wow, what a volley goal that would have been, but blocked in the penalty area. Still in Arsenal possession, and this is not what FC Nantes want. If you're an Arsenal fan, you are absolutely loving this right now, because Kolasinac has the ball down in the corner, and with 15 minutes remaining, they are still 2-0 to the good. Yeah. One goal, of course, could change this.
Arsenal need to be very careful here. Yes, they're having great spells of possession, but if FC Nantes can string together a couple of passes as they have here, they have 4 men up top that can be used in a counter-attack.
Simon finds Eamon. Eamon off towards Blas, back towards Eamon again. Another chance here for FC Nantes, in towards the danger area. Dulu just couldn't quite get on the end of the cross, but they forced a corner.
They have, and this is what I was talking about. If you cut off the second pass from FC Nantes, great, you're still pinning them back in their own penalty area, but as soon as they get into a little bit of space, they're going to have so many bodies pouring forward. But Arsenal really need to keep their wits about them, and you can see on the right-hand side of your screen how they are adapting their formation to respect that and recognise that the counter-attacking threat that's going to come in these final few moments.
It's a little bit of fear for me, this strikes us, though, is that they are fearful of the fact that it's almost like they don't trust themselves defensively to keep this lead.
So 3 points here for Arsenal would see them leapfrog Schalke and Celtic. Of course, Celtic still to play. Things getting a bit tight in that sort of 4 to 7 spaces in the league, as Saka plays it forward towards Kolasinac, but one back by Blas, and FC Nantes come again. A goal now would make a real nervy end to this match. Great challenge from Aubameyang, but it's been given away again. One back by Nketiah. The chance to counter is on here through Saka and Aubameyang as well. Lovely turn again out towards Saka. Lovely footwork again. Switch. Crossfield ball towards Pepe. Poor first touch, but they still have possession, and crucially, with only 5 minutes remaining, they have the ball, and FC Nantes are looking like they're going to end this game in defeat.
Yeah, this is Arsenal killing off the game at this point. Smart thing to do after the previous match's result, and they still are threatening in an attacking sense, but they don't want to take any risks now that, I mean, after Nantes have proven in the previous game how strong they could be, and that's why we're seeing fouls like that.
Yeah, there's that foul again, and they were able to snatch a dramatic 96th minute winner in the first game, but even for them and for their standards, it looks like it's going to be too little too late, but they might get a consolation. Oh, what a save from the goalkeeper.
Captain Christopher there stepping up with a bit of manual goalkeeping. Just a slight adjustment down to the keeper's right, I believe it was. We'll see it here again in a second, but it was enough to push that one to the right-hand side of the goal. A strong right hand pushes it away for a corner.
90 minutes are up. It's another corner. 4 minutes of added on time. The goalkeeper's come forwards. The goal now, it would well and truly be squeaky bum time, but I don't think it's going to come unless the flick on can't go goalwards. And now Aubameyang has a chance to counter through Saka, and they could really put the cherry on the icing, but it's a poor pass. But anywhere will do for Arsenal, because that is job done, and Arsenal will finish today with another 3 points as the ball gets headed in towards Ayman. Guendouzi fires the ball away. It's been a truly remarkable performance in terms of mettle and mentally. How impressive was that, Wes, from an Arsenal point of view after the heartbreak of that first game?
Well, it's powers of recovery. I mean, even in that first half, we didn't see a lot from Arsenal or even from Nantes, but their ability to recover from what was absolute heartbreak, to be 2-0 up in the first game and for it to, to fall away 3-2 in the fashion that it did, there's some serious mental resolve there that they've been able to, and they drew on their experience. Alex Giardi, former player of Nantes, has played in this last season. Venom, who's a relative debutant. Chris, who channeled all of that experience to get themselves back into the tie. But even looking at the body language of some of them as they come off, both of them look really disappointed.
Just seeing Chris there, and he's shaking his head, obviously because of that first game. They've got 3 points on the board, and they still feel they should have got more.
Well, you could easily make the case that they should have had 6 if they'd have taken that kind of professional mentality that they had in that second game and transported that to the first game.
They were so good in that first half of the first game, weren't they?
Yeah, and it was a little bit of not flicking the switch to kind of go, right, actually we need to get on with this, but I think there was a little bit of fragility there with Arsenal. I think had they have taken that professional approach that closed out that second game into the first, we'd be sitting here saying that Arsenal have 6 points and, all is rosy in the...
Do you think FC Nantes were complacent in that first game?
I think they were just
thinking they were going to get a bit of an easier tie.